Welcome back. Yes, we are doing a update for the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And I did think it was pretty important. I did try to get to it yesterday, but fatigue took the better of me. And I think a lot of us can actually directly relate. Probably over the last 3 months, we've had Mercury retrograde. We've had a lot of astrology that has really brought us to this moment. And we have been like this pendulum swinging back and forward, trying to decide what changes we need to make. The signature of this is actually being intensified because from a spiritual point of view, with Mercury retrograde, we're really looking at the devil in the detail. Now, chuck my head on the screen. I'll say hello to everyone. Like I said, it is late for me. I have been up since 3:30. It is now 8:20, and usually I'm in bed by now. And that is because I get up so early. But I did want to talk about this, and I am going to go through and basically have a bit of a chat about what is going on so we understand the context of it. I have actually covered some of it within a blog post that I have on YouTube. So if you do go to the community post, there is a bit of a blog about it. And that is going to be something that is going to be hopefully consistently moving through to next year. So when you want transits month by month, I'm going to put a blog up and it's going to have a brief update. And there could also be some content that goes with that video similar to this. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium. I'm a spiritual coach. Have been a psychic since I was a child, also astrology. And really looking at some of the signatures of how these things can play out. And a lot of times astrologers will actually say to you, hey, this is your zodiac sign, but guess what? Your birth chart actually holds a very specific signature. And so sometimes we can actually look to our rising sign to get a deeper context, but to get the most accurate, especially a good time to actually get it done, is prior to nodes moving, because it is, especially with a lot of planets over the next 2 years, they're transitioning into signs. They're going to be sitting there for quite a while. Pluto is, before the end of the year, going to move out of Capricorn for its grand final. It's currently sitting there at the moment, which is causing a little bit of tedious energy. We also can be bittersweet with it. So we can be really nostalgic. We can be, oh my gosh, we want to hold on to the old world that we were living in, the society and the structures that we built up. And it can feel very volatile at this point in time. So you can be looking at your life and needing to make very critical decisions. It could be about your career. It might be to do with your wellness. It could be how do you balance your life with all the context of these things going on. And it is impacting our aura, especially with this eclipse coming up. And, some of it for those of us in the lower hemisphere, this was already playing out yesterday. We were picking up the signature of the moon being in Pisces. And as we transition through, this is going to still be lingering for a good 6 to 12 months. And why do I say that? Eclipses usually, especially in a nodal effect, whenever you're having an eclipse, it's something that it ushers an energy in or out. And then for 6 to 12 months, you're working through that. We do have at the moment Saturn and Neptune both in retrograde in the same zodiac sign. And nodes at the moment, which usually when we have the nodes, they're sort of like a calculation point. They bring about a signature that we hold for about 18 months. Now, we're currently in the North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra, which is the next eclipse that's coming. And I think it lands on the 2nd. I'll try and have time to actually cover that. But I do believe October is going to be quite significant to see what is really going to go on at a collective level. So pay attention to that eclipse, especially being that it is a South Node eclipse. Now, the nodes relating to this particular eclipse, it's almost like the entree to the main meal of what is coming next year. And so universe has been ever so kind to come along and go, look, we're just going to give you the PDF. You kind of had it for a little bit. You've had it both with Saturn and Neptune being there. And Saturn will initially be in that sign until we move into 2025, where it's going to transition into a different zodiac sign that I will cover a little bit later. So what Saturn's doing at the moment, especially during this eclipse, it is not a good time to make a major decision, okay? Because you may have already had some of these signatures that I'm going to mention inside your zodiac signs, but like I said, we're swinging like the pendulum. There's a lot of oppositions and squares. So you're going to be super busy at the moment. You're going to feel very rushed off your feet. You're going to, 1 minute, you're going to be totally sure and absolutely adamant. The next minute, you're going to be like, oh, God, maybe, so you're really going to be swinging back and forward. It's okay. You're not crazy. It's part of the signature of this frequency that's playing out, which I can totally agree. Doesn't feel all that fun. Now, the sun currently is in the house of Virgo, which is kind of good because the sun is about the direction in which we're going, okay? We are needing to spiritually honor detail. We need to look at the devil in the detail. Pluto also is in the house of Capricorn, which is making us extremely bloody traditional. And it's something that we're good at. It's like, oh, this is safe. This is something I'm good at. Can this be helping us at this point in time? I do believe so. It also can be causing some problems. I'll give you an example. For me, Pluto links to my 4th house, which is family and home. So this has ushered on top of the transits and the eclipses, a lot of busyness around family, home, siblings, my role as a parent, my role as the nurturer of self. You can find that you juggle those dynamics. So wherever you had Pluto and Capricorn, it could be putting a bit of a spanner in the works at the moment. Saturn is giving us quite the PDF. Now, it's good and bad because, like I said, we are having oppositions to various areas. Mercury, look, the list goes on. We're going to keep this simple. The way it is showing us is whatever we choose, wherever this area is, it's going to require maturity. Now, at the moment, Saturn is retrograde, and I'm going to have a quick look. We're going to chuck up the banner so you don't have to look at me going, you really don't want to look at that, but you know what's going on basically behind the screen. Now, I'm going to grab the chart, and I'm going to tell you how long we've got. Because in its retrograde, the floodgates open. So we've got lots of subjects to do with water. It can be water, fish, pets, spirituality, Neptunian, the dream. We want the dream. We want to, we could just want to do the Venusian energy right now. But really, we've got to do the eat, pray, repeat. We've got to level up. We've got so much on our plates and it's ever so tedious. So, if you're feeling that, you are absolutely not alone. You also, wherever those 2 zodiac signs at the moment, Virgo and Pisces, you could literally be obsessed. You may be frustrated looking around your house, realizing that you need to do a level up in it, feeling that disorganization is causing chaos. We also spiritually, due to frustrations, could be quite critical. We could be snappy towards people. We need to be careful with that Mercury energy. I always do firmly believe that transits are quite divinely guided. So it's sort of like I can't say it's preordained, but it causes a natural side effect for something to kind of move into play. So don't shade it. It's there for a reason. Soon we are going to be having the sun move into the house of Libra, but at the moment during this eclipse, which is what we're discussing, it is a lunar eclipse in Pisces, being a full moon. For some of you, it is going to link to the 18th. And I'm going to type in the 25-degree point. And we will look at, where is it? Let me see, 25 degrees on the Sabian symbol. 25 degrees. Yes, again, subjects to do with spiritual gurus. It can be spiritual gurus. It can be religion. And my mother always said to me, don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. This is going to be something that's going to be quite significant out in the media at the moment. And it is because we are wrapping up a Pisces energy, even though the North Node is moving there next year, because where Neptune is going, Into the house of Aries is going to be a totally different signature, and I will mention that. Okay, so Sabian symbol Sabian symbol of Pisces at 25 degrees. A religious organization succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of preventing practices and materializing ideas. And I feel it's a spiritual thing we're all individually going through. Yes, there can be things on a like a collective level. The power of the soul to intervene in the personal life and induces necessary catharsis. So there is a can't even speak, Mercury, a necessity for change. So we have, let's have a look at when planets are going direct, because this point, although I'm going to mention in your zodiac signs where it's happening, what to look out for, the other thing I can mention is the fact that once Saturn goes direct, the pressure is going to be on. Okay, so we could feel it is now, but we're going to feel it as it goes direct. So it's going direct November the 15th. So we have Saturn going direct November 15th. You need to, I would say about 2 weeks beforehand, be prepared for that. December the 7th, Neptune goes direct. At the moment, Neptune retrograde can actually aid us. I'll be perfectly honest with you. The reason it does is because we become more realistic, okay? So look to where you have at the moment, morning sweep, where you have Pisces, where you have Virgo, because that's the shadow sign, Libra and Aries for the up-and-coming transits, which we'll cover later. Where is the other area? And Jupiter and Gemini. But again, there's a lot of pressure really happening in that area of life at the moment. So remember where I mentioned those transitions. Now, the other thing I can say, and these are my tips before we jump into the bits and bobs, is with Neptune aspecting, okay? What you have to understand is we can be dealing with things of waters. We can be dealing with things in the ocean, to do with fish, to do with pets, to do with space, to do with science. There also can be a nervous system, stress levels. So we need to be super careful with pacifiers and caffeine. It can be amplified. Those of us with our spiritual beliefs and value systems, if you are getting depressed, reach out. Find somebody you can speak to. There's Health Direct. There's 101 Dalmatians out there. But know that this is a temporary point in time. So even if you feel it's all doom and gloom, come back to this one moment. This is something that I've really been practicing quite a lot lately, because we can feel the collective energy, and not everyone's going to be like, oh my God, this is terrible. But some people can actually be more susceptible. So when we get into this rabbit hole of directly feeling nothing's ever going to change, and we start telling ourselves these false fulfilling prophecies, look, it could be that you're going through an extremely hard time, and we are not by any means making that small, but know that there are solutions. Okay, so it could be that we need a moment, and sometimes it is that we need to rest. Making decisions during an eclipse or feeling the vibration during an eclipse, it is better to allow that portal to move through. So give it 2 to 3 days where you can. Keep your hydration up, get some rest. We always make more rational decisions when we're rested. Our sleeping patterns can be a bit disrupted during these transitions, and caffeine or any pacifiers, they can be amplified, so they can cause more harm than good. So, keeping it simple, being aware, really listening to your body, having that go-to friend or go-to number you need if you are finding this, this time very testing. The other thing I can say is limit, and, it's funny because I hear a lot of people talking about this, and I think it's like a food pyramid, really. It's about knowing your body and knowing when enough is enough. So it could be that if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe looking at the news or the media or, TikToks, or you're scrolling and you're getting really amped, step back, come back into the body, do some breathing, in and out, and bring the vibration back into the body. And that's actually going to help calm you down, especially if you've been through a great deal. Know that we are with you. Separately, we do have the support moving through the actual members. If you want to come through, it's one set payment. You can leave if you don't want to be there, and you can come and go as you please. So we have that there, and I chime in every day. Psychic attacks and out-of-body experiences are very possible. So if you are very psychic in nature, if you are very susceptible to frequencies, I already have smudged, and I have said to those that I've been coaching over the years, the further into your ascension process you get, the more smudge sticks, crystals, and things like that will start working. And it usually is because you've moved to a different level, and so you become the crystal. So it's almost like if you sense a vibration, you'll be able to clear it. And again, if you need coaching to do with that, I can actually provide that again on the website when I'm free. All the bookings, kind of the dates are there. It's quite structured in the sense that it shows you when I'm available. You get the notification, I get the notification, all the information of how we connect is there. That was one of the first things I did when I joined YouTube, because people were asking me for readings and I knew I couldn't be everyone. Okay, so that website is my 2IC. It does everything for me, and I have it with me all day. So wherever I am, you can connect in. And if you're confused about any of it, PM me within it, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Any other things before we get into your zodiac? Under pressure at the moment, job looks like it's ending. We'll see. Look, any door closing is a new door opening, and it does depend on our zodiac signs. We also, with the transits moving forward, with Pluto moving back into Aquarius, all of us are like, oh my God, technology is going to take over. It's going to be different times. There are certain things at this point where we stand where particular industries will be pulled. But it can be that universe is shifting you at this point in time. And I do believe those Pisces signatures are going to be so very critical, where they're going to set you up for the next few decades. So the hard work at the moment and the North Node moving there next year is going to help you really hone in on that area and apply yourself to it so that you can be set up for the best, really spiritually moving forward. We're going to get into the zodiacs. And again, for questions, I will actually be doing them via the members. If you want to talk about your chart or go, I don't really understand this, and feel free in the chat, if you know where yours is, to actually give individuals a heads up. What have you been having coming up as a signature? I do know from, you could say with a prediction point of view, is that, with the North Node in Pisces, and I will do an update about this with the North Node and the South Node, because I think it's a whole video in one, is that we can have, for instance, things to do with banking on the South Node. We can have things to do with banks, managers, subjects to do with, workers in general, employment, doctors, nurses, the health, Medicare, those industries. It's going to the South Node. So on the up and up, the South Node is where things it's sort of like, doing a business audit, and you're looking at it and you're going, I need to upgrade that website. It's a bit stagnant. I need to update some of those features on it. It's just not working as well as it could. So what you find is the solution apparently is in the North Node, but we're a bit foreign with that because it's something we're not quite good at. So you can find those particular areas can be answers that inadvertently changes the South Node. So an example, the other day, because I have two jobs, it was funny because there was a president I visited delivering something, and it had been burnt. And they were saying, hey, blah, 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 you know, we're going to be renovating this probably into next year. And in my head, you know, not announcing, hey, I cover astrology, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that probably could take a little bit longer. Why is the reason? Is because for the term of the eclipse transitions, we will have it looping into rotation. So not only maybe would the facility potentially be changed, but the entire industry as such. So yes, one of them can be asylum. It could be refugees. It could be prisons. It could be our rivers and oceans, our foreshores and security. What else? Anything Venusian, the way we look at space. There could be something that we discover. It could be a planet, or it could be something else that we discover. So, and both are going to change. So we're going to get into the zodiac signs. Do we have any Aries in the house? Any Aries? And look, what you can do is look to these of how it may be impacting you. Okay, so Aries, and if you know someone who's an Aries, share this video. Feel free to timestamp them. Generally, if I'm pre-recording these ahead of time, I do timestamp them, but because I have been working 2 jobs, it has made this organisation, especially during Mercury retrograde, very, very busy. Lots of changes. Okay, so Aries, you guys, number one, I could say, even into the next 14 years, and you're going, what? 14 years? Yeah, 14 years. Okay, 14 years. Why? We have a lot of planets moving into your zodiac sign. You are going to be so assertive. You're going to be on fire. Try to keep it, you know, the equilibrium there. We will talk about that later. Now, the North Node has been putting pressure on you. It's still there, right? It's still there. There's things going on with that. Your Venus house can be really activated for the next eclipse, and you'll already be feeling it now. However, at the moment, and the difficult thing is, I see the 12th house for you where it stands. There could be some circumstances from a wealth level that are absolutely frustrating you. Have you had this experience? Please chime in. Have you been worried about money? Have you been worried about a connection that's had you up in your head? Have you been like, I've got to make these changes? You know, this can be one placement that operates in a myriad of ways. The 12th house is not, I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's good. It's a very, it's multifaceted, okay? So from a Venusian point of view, sometimes it can feel as though we are in neck deep to debt, right? That's one way it can be. Or it could be that we're trying to look at a different way to create our dreams. The 12th house also can be like you're visiting your Akashic records. So you can have a lot of flashbacks. You can have sometimes PTSD. You can feel extremely psychic. It's also trusting that universe is going to bring to you what you deserve. And that doesn't have to be, oh my God, I'm going to get my karma. It's about spiritually looking at things from a higher perspective. 12th house. The other thing is, you need to look at, again, the Virgo placement, because the shadow sign of Pisces is Virgo. And so for you at a spiritual level, you could have felt as though you always have to be responsible. You've had so much on your plate. At times, you could feel a little bit bored. You could have had health-related dynamics going on. And what do I mean by health? Again, this is not medical advice. It could have felt as though you were run down. It could have felt as though you could have had transitions through Mercury retrograde where you might have felt a little bit off, might have felt a bit yuck, could have felt as though you really needed to review your nutrition, your wellness, your physical routine. Subjects to do with pets could have come up during that time. Getting a pet, losing a pet, caring for a pet's health, introducing a new one into the dynamic, and a lot of things of the past. So this was maybe a lot of paperwork you had to deal with. Now, in a sense of a routine, you could be making some radical changes. You could be like, you know what? You've been swinging this pendulum. It could be, to do with your love, trying to balance life. And do I even have time? What will my new life look like? And again, moon could be to do with maybe family, children, a subject that's changed in your life. And suddenly you could be looking at your life going, okay, what am I going to do now moving forward? So it can feel initially a little bit like an existential crisis, but in fact, it's taking you to your dreams. And it may mean that if you have been swinging like a pendulum, going back and forward, a good thing to do with a transit, especially for me, we had Chiron in Pisces way back when. And God, that was horrible. A lot of people were going through awakening. So I think it was the exact date, I'm not completely sure, 2017, 2018. It was somewhere in between that. But a lot of people that I was actually guiding were very susceptible, very, going through that awakening process. And Pisces was really bringing that frequency in. So for you, the vibration of what can be there, you can have some really creative ideas. You could be on the fence to do with an idea. The one downfall of the Neptunian frequency of Pisces is a little bit like Sagittarius. You can have these grand ideas, but you will be going back and forward. You may fuss too much over details and want to be safe, want to feel that very kind of assured energy. And the funny thing is we're really having to operate in this air energy at the moment, which is intuitive. Okay, what does my instinct tell me? This feels nice. This feels shit. Which one do I want to do? Oh, let's keep doing the crap one. And you keep going back to it. So you keep going over it until you come to a resolve. Look, even if I didn't leave it, I have to leave it because it feels like shit. Do you get what I'm saying? So psychology, emotions, meditation, coaching, they can be very positive. You also could be really having these revelations in your life that are going to give you these major breakthroughs. Major breakthroughs. Depending on the aspects within your chart, you can have, you also could have an individual that you feel you can't quite be completely transparent with. And it's about finding that language of love, finding that language of communication so you can actually get that through with that individual. Any questions before I move on to the next zodiac sign? Is it hitting? Is it landing? Do you get what we're saying? Very positive though. But whatever's bugging you, you're going to go to those Akashic records. You can have guides coming in trying to give you signs. Follow your instincts. Look, the 12th house can be incarceration, prisons, mental asylums. It can be a guru energy. It could be a therapist. It could be somebody that goes to prison. But it's a new beginning. This is a new start. This is a decision and a line drawn in the sand to make major decisions, not being scared anymore and absolutely going for your dreams. Taurus. How many Taurians in the house? Are you guys having fun? Uranus and Taurus is retrograde? What then? Well, if it's relevant, the sad thing, your birth chart would even be more intense because where you have your positions, other things are going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. And that's the beauty of it. It's like we get a general energy. I was sitting there, I have my birth chart on hand. I do my friends' charts and, all the way down to country astrology, which I'm going to get hopefully some technology so we can do country birth charts. I've been looking at that as well. Mars also is in the house of Cancer. Before we jump through to Taurus, big disclaimer, tips. Mars in Cancer is going to move between Mars in Cancer and Mars in Leo. We are going to have a retrograde. I have seen so many manifestations of this. It's absolutely ridiculous. One of my biggest tips is to be careful around schools, be aware of your surroundings. Why are we saying that? What's Mars? Mars can be fire, cut, a physical. It could also be a hero. It could be somebody coming in to rescue. What is Cancer? It could be a physical home environment. It could be a mother. It could be home. Could be America. America has Cancer in its chart. What else? Could be children misbehaving. Could be children as a victim. A lot of unsolved cases are going to be solved between now and the end of the year. Why is that? Because Pluto's in the house of Capricorn and it's retrograde. As it goes direct, found. Definitely. Old cases cracked. Old cases. We'll go back to Taurus. Taurus. Okay, we do have Uranus and Taurus retrograde. This could be making you deeply reflect. This is an eclipse in Pisces we're discussing, but keep note of that. The other thing I can say for you, Taurus, it's been a testing few years. Uranus and Taurus is moving out of your zodiac sign next year, I believe. I think it's moving into the house of Gemini. We'll cover that later. But you're going to have a break. So because this is coming to that degree point, between now and next year, things are going to get intense. If you have avoided changes, they're going to be screaming at you. These changes are going to be made. Now, Pisces for you is in your 11th house. Now, this can be playing out in a few ways as well. The 11th house is interesting. The 11th house can be that, how will I explain it? If you wanted to start a major project, it could be if it's going for a physical loan. Oh, I want to buy a house. It could be friendships. This could be a project you launch, especially say if you've got a website. This can be taking on a managerial role and launching a big project. It could be an education course. It could be, something Venusian. This also can link towards wealth. You do have the axis at the moment of, the shadow sign of it is Virgo. The sun currently is in Virgo. You have subjects to do with the 5th house. Now, this could cause a bit of complications, and this isn't that it's going to be happening to everyone. If you are in a romantic relationship and you are like, this is so bloody boring, and there is somebody that really tickles your fancy, this could take you to the dark side. This could draw a line in the sand, and you're like, look, this is the path I need to go, and that is for some, not all. Pregnancy is possible. Subjects to do with children can come up. This could be a huge time for you at a creative level. Huge time. You could really feel quite driven. You're going to feel tired at the moment. You may want to play. You may feel, God, what am I going to do? Everyone wants a piece of me. This could be an extremely social time at the moment. You also could have a falling out with a friend. Are there any Taurians in the house at the moment? Any Taurians in the house? What else can I say? I do see potentials of growth within your income. You also could feel as though spiritually with stress levels and tension, there is a possibility of going on and off food. Jupiter at the moment is transiting your 2nd house. And, it can play out 2 ways. One way Jupiter's intention is to expand everything it touches. You could possibly buy land. You could possibly buy a house. It could be quite large in nature. That could be the physical sum that you have to give, or it could be what you're doing to the physical environment. You're also going to be very connected to tech. So anything you touch that is relating to technology, communication, education is going to do quite well. Your resources are going to be increasing, but the other thing it increases is, almost like hunger. So it can make you extremely hungry. It's Jupiter. It's the finer things. So you could be concerned about food. You could be, it can go to the opposite spectrum, which it can be, Jupiter can be like the fitness guru. I'm going to join the gym. I want to be a nutritionist. So that could be a stream of income that you actually get through your zodiac sign at this point in time. A lot of us at a collective level can be reviewing career, reviewing balance, reviewing how we create structure, because Pluto and Capricorn's there. So don't be surprised if that is something that is going on. Anything where it's feeling off, Jupiter expands it. You know, it's funny because I love researching astrology. I do it daily, every single day. It's like my school. Jupiter, again, you will always, with everything, there's two sides of the coin. So you could say, oh, Jupiter brings positivity. Well, technically, Jupiter in Gemini is, you know, not deemed as completely positive. Yeah, it's natal in my chart. So how it can be when you know it's there is your communication style. You can learn to actually communicate in a more effective manner. You can be very social. You can want to talk to people and to connect and to feel spiritually connected to them at this point in time. That's going to be something that's really spiritually important to you. You also can gain financially, and you're going to be very focused on that. It's like, okay, what can I do to stretch that dollar, that income, that resource? You could also be looking to purchase something. I would say be cautious around Jupiter retrograde, because that can actually restrict some of it. So pay attention to what is happening between now and the end of the year, and then decipher. And I would actually say for all of us collectively, if you celebrate the silly season, get those done before the end of October. So get all your presents, your food, whatever you can get those things before the end of the year, because we are going to have a Mercury retrograde again, and you want to get them done well and truly before the end of the year. And then we're battening down the hatches. We're moving through that portal. Okay, so Taurus, big changes at the moment in your 11th house. This can be to do with wealth, projects, launching something. This could be extremely creative. So think outside the box. If you do want a personal booking, you can go through to the website to see exactly how this is playing out for you. Gemini, this can be intense for you. You know, they did say for particular zodiac signs this was going to be intense. And I think for anyone, I would never bother saying, the reason why I say this is going to affect these signs. Do you know why? Because you have 12 bloody houses in your chart. Everyone does. So it's going to be hitting you somewhere. So guess what? It's affecting all of us in some place in our life. So, Gemini, I can say there's a lot, okay? There's a lot going on for you. You could feel pulled in different directions. You could feel dragged to oblivion, so many ideas. I would say don't bite off more than you can chew. You may become so indecisive. I'm going to tell you again. Now, Pisces does that at the moment. Why? It's because it can be very 12th house energy, right? Do I? Don't I? How do I feel about that? What happened in the past? Then the shadow sign, Virgo. Let's look at the details. Indecision happens. Then you have Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter's like, let me just chuck you the world. And now, do it all. You can't, okay? You need to be practical. How many of you at the moment are going, I'm going to do this. Whoa, I'm going to do that. Okay, you're the life of the party, but you're going to get yourself worn out. Mars will be going retrograde soon. Get your heavy lifting done now in the areas of Cancer and Leo, or anything in general, but siphon it down to key areas. Get really realistic. It's a bit like the kid cramming their homework. We ain't going to get it done. Okay, short space of time, bigger picture, future tense looking. What do you want to achieve? Hone in on it. Only I can say, things to do with your home. Okay, home, family, inner child, a lot of inner child work. And career. Okay. Now, home-based businesses could be positive. Anyone got a home-based business? Anyone want to leave their previous place of employment? Are you feeling like you're having an existential crisis? I'm being overwhelmed. I was this, no, I'm that. Do people understand me? Do they not? What are my spiritual belief systems? You know, some of you actually can get married. And you go, what? Yeah, you could get married, okay? Also, with your spiritual values, hold them. They're yours. It's okay. Just don't worry if people don't agree. Detach. We have Mars and Cancer. You know, if you know who you are, there's no convincing. Go into who you are. It is okay. You could do very well at this point in time on social media. You will have the absolute gift of the gab. So, depending on the career you're in, some of you can be changing your identity. Now, does it have to be employment? No. Your purpose in life is changing and evolving. All of us are going to be changing over the next decade or so. It is okay to change. We are going to be different. We could be very nostalgic of the past. Our needs could be nostalgic. We could be pulled in various directions. But pay attention to your career sector. Trust your instincts. Take steps. Between now and next year, it's going to look very different to how it stands right now. If you need a session, you can go to the website and we can dig deeper. Cancer. You and Leo, we're going to bounce back. You and Leo, as I take a sip from my cup, get very affected by eclipses. Pisces also on this occasion, which we will get to very soon. Why? It's because the lunation is in that zodiac sign. Now, why is it that Cancer and Leo are affected? Because your sun and moon, okay? With lunations and eclipses, it's a little bit like a feminine cycle, right? We are going through the ins and outs. Now, the sun's in Virgo. You have quite a lot going on, both you and Leo, okay? Why? Is because Mars is there. And I thought this was very interesting. And I have heard no other astrologer talk about this. And tell me if I am wrong. How many of you are looking at your wellness at this point in time? You could be looking at a contract, very concerned about your career, and knowing that you need to look after your wellness in some shape or form. Has there been anything to do with teeth, bones, or surgeries? Teeth, bones, or surgeries? I'm waiting. So, big things to do with travel. Now, the ninth house, there can be a subject coming up with a sibling. This can be at a spiritual level. You also are very intuitive in nature. So you could be very reflective, very nostalgic. I would say at the moment, something to do with contract is changing. You also could take on a new role at a very temporary level, becoming a teacher. You could travel. You could be looking at subjects of marriage, subjects of contracts. Also, if you were looking, because what does Mars do? Mars cuts. So it's going to be transiting both Cancer and Leo. There could be some changes you need to make. Now, is this the best possible time in the world to do that? If you have to, you have to. A Chiron is retrograde. So what can happen with that? A bit of inflammation. Mars is not retrograde yet. At the moment, you are going to have so much energy, it's ridiculous. Or you will be called to utilize your energy like no tomorrow. So it could be you are exerting more frequency, you are becoming more assertive, you are getting maybe frustrated, but you're going to be acutely aware of how you are feeling. Cancerians are very interesting individuals, and I know a lot of Cancerians, including it is in my zodiac sign. You either like someone or you don't. It's very matter of fact. If you don't, you'll even do them some grace and you probably won't say anything. But if you do, well, you are very straightforward. You generally can tell. How many of you can put your hands up that is so? So, for your zodiac sign, I would say at the moment, you could be deeply wanting to get into fitness. Your passion can be more so. You you need to protect yourself as well. So protect yourself against energies, secure your homes. You could feel more security conscious. You also may want to get into fitness, but don't burn yourself out. You can get very tired. You need to rest and recoup. Eclipses do directly impact you. Allow about 4 days. But big changes for you can come in travel. Say you are working in a particular industry, and I can give you a few examples. What is Jupiter? It could be a boat, a plane, a crane, a truck, a bus, an aeroplane. That can be the Jupiter energy. A submarine, it's large. It could be social media. It could be education. It could be dealing with a sibling. Big changes in that area. You could be teaching. It would be more a higher school than a lower school. It could be, especially with Jupiter in Gemini, there can be a lot to do with lower schools, daycares, primaries. That also could be an industry. You also will have a deep connection to children. Any questions? Have I missed anything? 9th house. Double check. Don't give loans out. Mars, pay attention to your cybersecurity. Also, you will be reflecting upon your income moving forward. So I would say keep some for a rainy day, nurture it. Changes and transitions will be happening as you transition into 2025, but that's later. So the retrogrades will take you over it. I would say good cybersecurity. You could lose some things, but something's going to change in that domain. But it is inevitably moving forward. Okay, so keep your paperwork and your ducks in a row, but also you will like the finer things in life, right? So it may be looking at how to paint the bigger picture and put the energy into it later. But I would say those 9th house energies can be try to keep on the up and up where it comes to, don't do anything naughty. Pretty much black and white there. Okay, Leo. Like I said, you actually do suffer the most during eclipses. I love my sister. She's my deepest muse. Whenever we talk, it's like, girl, you're Leo. Okay, you're the sun. We know where we're going. And then it's dark. And it was funny because we literally went to a concert and the first song that came to mind was Fair in the Dark. And she goes, yeah. So, big shout out to my sister. During an eclipse, when you have direction, you are on fire. Okay? You are on fire. Who can I think of? J-Lo. Okay? Lots of changes happening in their lives. Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Okay? They're Leos, right? Still don't think it's over. I swear. When do I think they are going to have some shit go down again? There's something in that. It's not over. I'm not feeling. Okay, between November and December, we may see some big changes. November, December. Still there's unfinished business there, as far as I'm concerned in the chart. So, Leo, number 1 is try not to control. You may panic. I want you to take your shoes off. I want you to put your feet on the ground. I even said this to my sister. When people are triggering you, you need to walk away. You need to go and touch a tree, ground the energy, take your shoes off, and I want you to only focus for 20 seconds at least. And you're going to count. I want you to come back to this one moment. And that is something of a guidance energy for you transitioning through this, because it can be there for a couple of days. So breathing and listen to the breath in and out and come back to this moment. That is going to aid you going through this. You will want to know if everything's going to be okay. You could swing like the pendulum, like all of us, during that time. it will work out. Everything always works out. You know, we always say to ourselves, oh my God, what are we going to do? It always works out. And 9 times out of 10, at Tower moment can be a perfect opportunity for 20 doors to open. So attempt to let go and not not get into conflict. Keep yourself in a Zen space. Do the breathing, transition through. Now, what do I see in your chart? Let's take a look. Where you're going and how you feel. There could be a lot of things to do with your second house. You could be thinking, oh my gosh, where am I going to live? What's going to happen with family? What assets do I have? Where is the money at? If I wanted to do that plan, what would I do with the income stream? You could have a change of income, all right? You could be leaving a circumstance to have a separate style of income coming in. Now, this could be a side hustle. This could be a creative idea that you're wanting to achieve. You also could have a change in diet. It could be that a way of being is needing to be addressed once and for all. You could be doing research. Now, this can be anything through the mouth. It can be high heart chakra. You also, as a Leo, during eclipses, do need to look after the heart and heart chakra. So if you ever, this is not rocket science. This isn't even medical advice. Eclipses can have these issues, okay? So if you sense it, go to the doctor. It's not rocket science. It's like, something's off here. Time to get to the doctor. All right? Just a pointer. Regardless, keep the caffeine, be careful. If you're a caffeine drinker, it's not saying don't drink caffeine. Do not go to extremes, okay? Don't go to extremes. Caution with pacifiers. Give it 2 to 3 days. Is this a good time to do meditation? No. Is it a good time to look at the eclipse? No. Have I looked at the moon? Probably, but not consciously. Am I looking at the physical eclipse? No. I've looked at the moon. I haven't looked at the eclipse. I'm going to leave that be. I'm transitioning through the energy and with you at this very moment. Pisces for you is in your 8th house placement. Now, there could be a change. For those of you in a relationship, there could be a change happening inside your partner's income stream. This could be due to a myriad of things. The shadow signs, Virgo, so it could be due to wealth. It could be a change of income. It could have been that they lost their job. Is it going to change? Yes. Over the next 6 to 12 months, big changes are happening in there. You also are changing. You also could be changing that very notion. You could be looking at how you can actually be changing your income stream. Now, how this has played out in my life, and I'll give you some examples so that you potentially in your direct life can apply it to yourself. It could be that you're running a business. Have you ever worked in shoes and they're like, sell the sundries? Fucking sundries. When it's your business, you're selling the sundries, right? But you're not ramming it down someone's throat. There's nothing worse than a salesperson promoting. The body of the content should sell. It should be almost like it doesn't need selling. It sells itself. The 8th house can be where you are trying to find, it could be you've got a business and you're like, right, what would a secondary, a third, a fourth income be where I can get it from another person? So I'll give you an example. Vimeo could be one. I'm going to make content. I'm going to do an extension. I'm going to put it on Vimeo. That can be an 8th house matter. Now, it's tax, debt, legacies, inheritances. There could be something that is owed to you that is coming back. You also may be thinking to yourself, and this is very common. You spiritually can be connected to people on the other side at this point in time. You could be thinking about them. You could be obsessed at the moment about death. What am I going to leave behind for my kids? What legacy am I leaving for people? What legacy have I ever been left? You could be obsessed with it at the moment. It's okay. You're not crazy. It's part of the transit. You're doing some shadow work. Rewound back in Aries. Rewind. you are going to find a different way to change things. So again, it's to do with this. You also at this time will be attracted to a person who is bringing something to the relationship. You also could be looking at the fact that, does money equal a relationship, or can you create that? Only you can answer that. So you're going to be looking at both sides of the coin. You can have a subject to do with tax, legacies, inheritances, debt, income streams, situations happening with wellness. It's Pluto in nature. So it's getting to the root cause of things. Do I need to get that checkup? Again, this is not medical advice. It's the ways astrology can play it. If anything relates, write in the box. Could it be a line? Yeah. You also could be paying a debt off. So if an inheritance, and this would be more an old situation, it could come back to you. Could it be a new thing? It could be. For some. Care for mother at this time. You can find that mother energy both towards yourself and towards a physical parent energy that is here on this plane can be a subject matter. And, just really listening, being present, dealing with those things. Capricorn, again, has been putting a bit of a spanner in the works. You may have felt as though you've had way too much crap on your plate, Leo. Okay, so how do I explain this? If you have felt your life has been boring today and you have had to be the adult, the mature one, you could find two things in this area, and probably hundreds of things. But Pluto has been transiting your 6th house. That is to do with health. It's to do with pets. It's to do with your daily routine, the grind, the eat, pray, repeat. It is where at times we can be our own worst enemies. Both giving our power away and taking power. Patterns, habits, psychology probably can come under this sphere with that subject matter. You have had a lot on your plate. Trust me, Pluto is leaving this sign. Universe gave this to you because they know that you're really good at it. You also could be bringing an old routine back into your life that you let go of. So if you'd let a routine go and you're like, I've really got to get back to that. I don't know why I left that in the first place. It works so well for me. Why don't I go back to it? There is a distinct possibility that is so. Hope that helped. Feel free to PM us in the chat box. Whoever you are, that is Leo. Okay, Virgos, you guys are going to have a heck of a year. I PM my sister. She's a Virgo. Happy birthday to the Virgos out there. You beautiful things, you. How have you been? Okay, you guys have probably been pretty bloody busy. Okay? Very nostalgic of the past, reflective of the old version of yourself, and reflective of where you're going. Now, the big transitions for you, and this is an interesting one. Why would I say that? Now, when you hear an astrologer say to you, you can have a breakup. Not necessarily. I'm going to explain why. You have Pisces transiting through your 7th house during this eclipse. Now, your 7th house can be your physical body. It could be the Venusian style, so your style could change. You could be more, what would I say, Neptunian. It could be like psychedelic prints. It could be that you're becoming more out there and you're paying attention to, you're like, I want to change my style. This is something that is not working for me. Now, it could be the people that you mix with, a physical relationship is going through a change. Now, does it mean a divorce? Does it mean an ending? It doesn't have to. Now, the nodes are moving there next year. So if there has been a problem in this area, it's going to start cropping up. Now, will it for every single Virgo on the planet? No. Why? It's because it can come up in a slight way, or depending on where it sits in your direct birth chart. So if you have readers over the next 2 years going, oh, your Venus house, and you are looking at going, this isn't working, look to your rising, or pull your birth chart and look to where it is, or book a reading. And we can actually tell you where it is, and then you'll go, bing, bing, bing. That's why I'm not resonating with That's why it's not coming through, is because you could be missing some critical details that are directly going to affect you for 2 years. So for you, it can play out with a change of career. It could play out with a change in a physical contract. That could be for a house. It is moon after all. What do I do with my house? Do I keep it? Do I sell it? Do I buy? Do I upgrade? It's a North Node energy that is coming. Pressure points are coming up, and you could be coming through quite traditional at this point. You may be also, all of a sudden, if you haven't been working, you could be going, I want to do something creative. And this could actually be something quite creative. Be it it's art, be it it's hands, be it it's in technology. It's Neptunian, okay? It's going to be alluring. You also, at this time, may be facing like a lot of shadows to do with previous relationships. Now, does it mean for 2 years that's what you're going to be doing? No, not necessarily. If it's coming up, this is the initial ingress with this eclipse. We've had Saturn and Neptune there. It's in retrograde, so you could be going back and forward. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? With the job, with the contract, with the partnership, what do I do? As it goes direct, pressure's going to be on. It's a little bit like a boil. If it's not addressed, it's going to keep coming up. But you could have a great idea in one of these areas. You could be currently single and going into a connection. You could go into it. You could meet someone. You may then go to the next level and the next level. Now, if you're in a relationship, does it have to be the relationship? No, it could be completely career. It can be completely doing the Venus side of things, money. Usually the second house. But again, it doesn't have to affect the relationship. The relationship will go through a complete change, which is going to be positive because the old version of you is evolving. Now, in a good relationship, it's going to evolve with you. In a relationship, that's a bit testing. You may have a bit of rocky waters. Relationship, contract, or partnership, something's changing there and will be. New beginnings, new chapters, a new evolution in that area. Take stock of this very carefully. You could be extremely tired. We had Mercury retrograde in your sign. It then went direct. We have the sun at the moment. You're going to be very busy. You're going to be like, you could be up in your head at the moment and being really hard on yourself. Or it could go polar opposite, where you could be hard on other people. And that is because of the pressure of the transits playing out against your energy, if that makes sense. The other thing I can say for you, Virgo, subjects to the kids, subjects to do with, it can be wanting to have fun, wanting to be creative, maybe having some, some responsibilities. This could have been in love. It could have been, maybe some triggers to do with some blockages that happened in a current connection or a previous connection if there was an affair of any degree. But subjects to do with kids can be coming up in your childhood. And money. Okay. Now, Mars is going to be transiting through your 11th and then your 12th. It's going to bounce back and forward. I can say that you're going to be quite creative. Be careful of the head. Be careful of, be cautious around friendship groups. There could be a friendship that's severed. There could be also more assertive energy to do with your right to have friends, especially say if you were in a social circle and they weren't letting you. But I do see you becoming quite either passionate or assertive. Okay. You also could be very protective of wealth at this point in time. Like, wanting to maybe protect it, wanting to save it. It could be for a reason. You could be working extremely hard so that you can have a bit of a break. And I would suggest before the end of the year really having a break, because as we do transition into the new year, what you're going to find is there's a lot of changes and they're happening in a very condensed space of time, and you need that energy for that nodal change. If you do want to book in, you can go to the website and we can give you an update there. Now, Libra, you guys have had the nodes in your house. And yes, the eclipse next month is coming into your charts area, and this can be your physical identity. At the moment, with it being the South Node and the North Node in Aries, you could be juggling a lot of things, especially where it does come to family and home. It could be your physical environment. You might have gone through a very Venusian style where you were purging and clearing things out. The Virgo transits for Libra can be quite difficult. Why is that? Because they're transiting over your bloody 12th house. So you could have been very reflective. You could have been very critical on yourself. You could have been worried about your wellness and your health. Some of you could have experienced headaches, aches and pains, deeply reflective, analytical. So if you were having like sleeping a lot, that could have been maybe through, feeling absolutely fatigued. There was always this risk with where Saturn is at the moment and Neptune, is that you add Virgo to that energy with that Mercury retrograde, and you guys were going to get burnt right out. So if you have felt quite burnt out, I'm actually not surprised. And I definitely feel that there can be some significant changes that are going to be quite positive for your zodiac sign as you do proceed forward. But this has been a huge shift for you, and it has been quite challenging. If you have been having things to do with your teeth, to do with bones, I mean, I tell you, number one, my Pisces placement, I'm a Libra, but my Pisces placement has, from a Venusian point of view, it has made me work very hard. I've had subjects over the transit of Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. I've had bones, I've had Ross River. A lot. It's hard yards, so I totally understand. This eclipse, not next one, this eclipse. Okay, big changes to do with your diet, big changes to do with your health, big changes. You are willing to do the sacrifice. Okay, so what's Saturn doing? It's crushing. It's retrograde at the moment. It's got some of the pressure off. You can find as it goes direct, you're going to make some changes. This could be in your daily routine, especially if you feel you're trying to find it. Libra's always trying to find the balance. And if you tell a Libra there's no balance, they'll say that's not true. There is, but you guys can have that Aries extreme. Well, why do I mean by that? You can do a lot and still find balance in that, but it has to be worth it for you. Okay, so you're going to find your medium balance. You also can be having changes in your romantic sphere. But I do see you guys wanting to make the changes to your appearance. A lot of you might have had trouble with that this year. And that's because that energy can kind of wear you down, right? Now, is it going to be like that permanently? No, it's probably because Saturn's there. It's not doing it's doing you favors, but it's getting you to deal with your teeth and your bones and your wellness. There could be subjects to do with pets going on. This also is Venusian energy. You could be creating a savings plan. You also may want in a sense of a relationship. You have changed now. You may have found that you were, what example could I give you? Somebody that would do the Venusian energy, you glam yourself up, you do your darndest, nice hot dinner on the table. Only an example. And they're cliche examples, but it could have been that you're a good partner. Okay? You're a good partner. People's energy also can be siphoning you slightly. There can be a bit of trigger set. So you may be very, very selective of who you mix with. You could be very selective in a sense of feeling there is a necessary time to change. I also feel, Libra, between this eclipse and next eclipse, you're really going to be having your appearance changing quite significantly. You're also going to attract a partner in that is more responsible, and I do see this person being more responsible, but you also need the passion. Scorpio, what do I say for you? I often say Pluto at the moment in its retrograde could be doing a bit of number on you personally. Mars also can be pulling you in various directions. This in the chart is a bit of a complicated one. How many of you have felt that, it could be that you don't know what to do, but you just want to play? How many of you have felt that you would like to connect in with creativity? You could be extremely creative right now. You could have so many different ideas coming up. It could be you want to do some art, or you get into a hobby. You want to, you could be thinking about having children or playing. It could be with your own child or a niece or a nephew. It could be a lot of connections around children at this point in time. Okay, now you may spend in excess. This could have been a pattern. Now, Saturn tends to restrict it, okay? So what is Saturn restricting at the moment? Saturn is saying Saturn can be doing two things. I will give you an example. When I got Ross River, way back when, it was transiting through my, where was it? 6th and 5th. I think it was, in the 5th. Between the 5th, I had the 5th house and the 6th house active. So what happened was, in the 5th house, you're very creative. And what do you do when you're creative? It's a little bit like sitting on a neck and you're creating it. So there can be some expansion that happens. There can also be more the Venusian side of things, because what you're going to like, from a food point of view, for instance, you'll like foods from different cultures. Or you will like something that's going to take you to, you watch those movies and they're eating the food and you can see it's divine. You can just see by their expression on their face. It's like, wow, that just, I would love to taste that. It's almost like you're in that spiritual experience with them. That's the 5th house. So you want your senses, tantalized. You want to play, you want to socialize, you want to go and dine, you want to travel, you want to do the Neptunian things. You can find yourself daydreaming quite a bloody lot. Daydreaming. Now, the 11th house can be to do with your wealth. It's the shadow sign. You could either feel that your friends are quite critical on you, or you are critical on your friends. You could have a creative project. You also could have a little bills, and you could be thinking, okay, how do I balance this? You may like the finer things at the moment in life, and you may be trying to find the balance. Now, Mercury is already going to do that. Mercury's like, okay, look to the 11th house. Your aspirations could be that you are wanting to be a manager, okay? And that is a distinct possibility. But let me see. You could be moving away from a particular social group, or you could be making changes to that domain. If you are working at a location, there can be changes in management. What else am I saying? Yeah, I think indecision could be a big one for you. A social, you could also want to reconnect to a friend and do things differently. But to do with your wealth, I would say you're going to have to do something different. And it is because it's going to become the South Node. It's also something that you're quite fixated on at the moment. Now, it's not the 2nd house. The 2nd house for you at the moment is Sagittarius. And that warning time would be more towards the end of the year. So, any big ticket items, I would definitely say, again, really getting everything done before we have Mercury retrograde next. Now, as to leadership, that is going to be moving to the South Node, which means it won't be something that you're going to be able to achieve right away. Now, a portal for that would be, I would say at this point in time, from here, 2 years, 18 months. Now, it's not to say you can't, but it is the South Node. So if it's something you've done before, you'd have to go back to that vibration and you'd have to do it differently. Because what it's signifying is it is going to the South Node. And what they're asking you to focus on is the 5th house. You could also be deriving an income from a different source. And as to if you were looking for career, what you're going to find is, for some of you, it can be that you are returning to an old place of employment. For some of you, you may find that, the best possible portal would be as Uranus and Taurus goes direct. You may find that networking and that domain a little bit difficult temporarily. The other thing is, Mars is going to be moving between your 9th and your, let me explain this. You're Mars anyway. You're the frequency of Mars, so you can handle it. Be aware of it. And I was actually talking to my twin about this today. The younger vibration of a Scorpio, you don't want to mess with the Scorpio, but you also are very blessed to be loved by a Scorpio because they're going to love you to the moon and back. It's a little bit like a Cancerian. Once you're in, good. Don't cross them though. So with the Scorpionic energy, because we do have the transition of Pluto moving between Capricorn and Aquarius, it's a little bit like going over a hill. You're going back and forward. You're going to feel, this. Now, coming back to this moment, Mars will be transiting, and I've just got one wheel here, so I'm looking at, I usually have each chart in front of me, so I'm having to count, so bear with me for 5. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, between your 9th and your 10th house. Now, you could bite off more than you can chew. If it is done in a very short space of time, this is going to make you feel a bit loco. I'm just going to be perfectly real with you. I can say if you wanted to get things done in a very short space of time, it will work well. If you're hoping to get major success, you could have some setbacks because as an example, be careful with fights around your siblings because we are having a transit in your house between the 9th and the 10th house. Issues at work, conflict at work, past, present, or future are possible because Mars will be transiting in that domain. If you left a situation on bad terms, it could be that they choose then not to give you a reference as an example point. Because Mars is transiting through that placement, it's going to retrograde in those 2 signature areas. But it also can be something as simple as, guarding those areas, being cautious and putting the energy and the vibration in those areas. If you were multitasking in both areas, you're going to find it very difficult to manage as Mars goes retrograde. Why? It's because not only in general we feel tired, and I think Mars retrograde will benefit us in the years coming, is because we're going to have so much Aries energy, which is go, 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 that when it retrogrades, we're probably just going to bloody feel normal. And that's my one benefit, I can say, actually observing those transits. It's the little nugget I've found so far. So as to the here and now, any of us, wherever Mars is going to be placed in general, if you are Aries, if you are Scorpio, if you have those placements in your chart, that's the natural nature. And then the Cancer and Leo, you're going to feel tired, okay? You can burn yourself out. So keep your cool, feel your frustrations. Great thing to journal. Protect your safety and your well-being. Be careful with smoke alarms in your house, with the safety with knives, when you're cutting your food, with your physical environment, and with those areas. Now, you can pour a lot of energy into it. You may find in the career sector, you need to look for certain houses. Anything I can see else before we go on to the next one? I don't even know how many else we got. You just woke up, I swear, yeah. Bloody Yildiz. Up here at 9:30 at night, and I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a sip. I'm taking a sip. So if you need a booking, you can come through. Otherwise, we are getting on to Sagittarius. Okay, Sag. Money, lots of changes happening there. You could be dealing with an old financial situation or home-related dynamics. Yes, there can be some repairs you're dealing with at this point in time as Pluto is transiting through that bloody second house again. If you are wanting to do something more traditional, it could be physically changing. You also could be going through a review of contracts, but I think that's going to be coming in the months coming. The other thing I can say, there could be subjects around your physical home environment. If you want to buy a home, if you are going, I don't own a home, is this ever going to happen in this lifetime? You've got 2 years to get your shit together. You have a window that is going to set you up for the next decade or so, okay? So Saturn has been kind of saying, it's almost like dangling the carrot because it's the Pisces energy. If you want this dream, it's like the absinthe drinker. If you want this dream, we're going to give you this one opportunity, but you're kind of going to fail at it because whenever Neptune goes retrograde, you're like, oh, God, I was so delusional. But it shows you where the flaw in the system was. Saturn being there shows you that all dreams require a structure and a spiritual. It's sort of like chucking Dana Scully and Mulder together. And I've been mentioning this for years, and I actually heard Victor, shout out to you. I heard him using that reference, and I was smiling when I heard him talking about it because I absolutely love the X-Files, but I have been using them as a reference for years. So I thought it was interesting, especially with this Pisces energy coming through, so very relevant. So if you, from a spiritual point of view, in manifestation, it is a vibration. It's the physical vibration, it's the intentions, it's the actions, and it's the faith. It's the faith that's going to happen. And you are Jupiter after all. Now, Jupiter currently is transiting Gemini. The flavor it's bringing to your life is a lot. It is bringing, expansion to situations happening in your relationship sector. So you could have a change of home during this time. You may want to, if something goes pear-shaped, don't worry, something will replace it. So if all of a sudden you go, oh my God, they've told me I have to move out, and it's not something you actually own, or you're having to sell your house, that placement being there, generally speaking, is going to give you sort of like a door regardless. So if a door closes, another door is going to open. You could be working towards it. You could fall pregnant at this time. You could be very fertile. So it could be pregnancies, it could be changes in home, it could be subjects to do with your mum. You could be doing bloody everything. If you are in a connection, you could be doing everything. You may feel that you have to be the nurturer and the carer and the good wife, the good husband, whatever it is. There could be a lot that you are socially responsible for. And you do tend to find, I just want to pre-warn you, you're lucky it's only like a 18-month kind of energy, from here a bit more. You can, from a spiritual point of view, you need to be realistic, articulate your feelings and express things. You also may go to the surface, especially from a spiritual point of view. When it is transiting there, you can feel very melancholy. You can feel very depressed. You can feel almost like you want a family, you're in a family, but you're misunderstood. So if that's happening, it's okay, you're not crazy. Well, not that I can diagnose you, but, it's a vibration. It's something that's happening at the moment. And I have walked a mile in those shoes, so I do understand. Plus, it can be quite psychological in nature. But your dreams can be achieved. There can be a new beginning here, a new beginning with a mother, a new beginning with family, with siblings, with your routine, with your connections. And any home-based businesses as well. So if you wanted to do something of a home-based business and a side hustle, Jupiter in Gemini is going to offer you that opportunity. If you are having a shit time at home, and it could be coming down to a partnership and the kids and whatever that is, it can be giving that issue there. Some of you could be signing a contract and moving into a home. You could be wondering, is it going to be okay? It's there for 2 years. So your new chapter has started, especially if this was in the last week or two. If this had been a process and you were going left and right, this was a door that was opening to you. Home-based businesses, multitasking, looking at those areas from different angles. I feel that you also are honouring who you are and what you need now. Yeah, your routine, I'm telling you, your routine, you might have felt like you've been up shit creek without a paddle lately. What do I mean by that? You might have felt like money was thick coming in and then money was thin. You might have felt as though you had different value systems, that you were going left and going right. You might have had to have a lot of payments going out. I do believe that is going to change for you. We still do have Uranus and Taurus at the moment in your chart. So if it's been as much as been coming in, it's been going out, or you felt like you've been doing eat, pray, repeat, or you feel you need to change your nutrition in some shape or form, it's going to come up. Okay, it's retrograde. You've got time to change it. You could be making some transitions with it. Yeah, there also could be maybe some reflection upon what routine, what your pastimes are. You all work and no play? How can you find the balance in that? So do we have any Sages in the house? Any Sages going through this right now? What else am I seeing in your chart? Okay. Okay, a partner's income can be going through changes, or they can be quite stressed surrounding a work situation at the moment. There also could be some changes happening in their family. There could be some conflicts with a sibling or something to that degree. Yeah, again, subjects to if there has been any conflict over, this could be debt, just be really cautious. Reflection upon it will happen more so in the retrograde, but at the moment it can be a bit aggressive. I would say guarding, definitely guarding our our software, our logins, especially between now and the end of the year. And like I said, Jupiter and Gemini has been putting a bit of a spin in the works. Now, the art of communication. Okay, you thinking big, but getting down to the crux. There could be a lot of conversations that you and your partner have to have. One analogy is men are from Mars and women are from Venus. There could be a lot of value difference, okay? Your values versus their values. For some of you, if you're single, you could be meeting somebody. For some of you, you could be getting married. For some of you, you could be looking at it and going, this is not working. But I do feel communication is the key. Some of you could be taking a mini break. I'd also say if it has been quite intense, things can start to settle down soon. And hopefully the best is yet to come. Capricorn, has this not been a shit show for you? How the heck are you doing, loves? I hope this has helped tonight. I wake up at 3:30. It's 9:48 p.m. here. I'm taking one for the team. I mean, look at me. I look like a dead owl. Look at that. Before and after. Look, yeah, that is me. Yes, I do brush up okay. Not right now. Okay, so Capricorn, you guys are the guru of Pluto and Capricorn. Now, very funny. I have been communicating with individuals that are going to have that Pluto ingress into their sign, and you probably are one of the best individuals to discuss this. You might have felt initially as 2008, possibly lowest you could think back. Did you feel like you were having personal things change in your life that forced you to change your identity? It could have been getting married. It might have been you just didn't like your hair anymore and your body and your look and faking it till you make it, or the people requiring you to be somebody that you needed to be that you didn't want to be. It's digging deep though. It's personal, it's real personal. And I'm about to go through it with my son, and I'm like, fucking great. I do know there's another astrologer that talks about it, and I've had so many aspects over the last, probably since 2017. I've been dragged through the ringer, literally, and I'm like, oh wow, and I think the good thing is when you live that aspect, you can then guide the collective and go, hey, it sucks, but it's good on the other side. So yeah, here's to 20 years, right? This time, all of us having Pluto in Capricorn, I think what we need to understand is it has become part of us. The new version of it, that is. It's at the 29-degree point. So all of us are like, can we just get out of this? Are you trying to get rid of yourself? You are the new version of Pluto in Capricorn. You are that new understanding and comprehension. It became part of you. So who was that part of you? I mean, for me, it was transiting on one side of my zodiac, because you got your rising, you got your sun. One aspect, it was my relationship sector. And I was like, yeah, that's not working. That Plutonian energy. And I have Scorpio too, so, I can do Plutonian. It wasn't working. Changes, lots of changes. Marriages, contracts, partnerships. One example is being a single mother and trying to hold a job down when your kid's sick. You can't take sick days. You got to work. Pluto in the 7th house. Kid, you got a kid. The other can be in the home sign. Mine was also on the other axis of my zodiac. Was home and family. I have moved so many houses. I have learned a different vibration of home. I have learned home is not necessarily, because it's quite spiritual, it's very scorpionic, not necessarily the walls you live in, but the home and the vessel of what you're in. How you feel at home. If you have a dream of a home, how that home is represented in your dreams is a depiction of how you feel in your walking life. So if it's torn down, if it's risky, if it's full of danger, that's how you spiritually feel. So for Capricorn, you guys are going through this massive transition. Your confidence, your self-esteem, any diet changes, any financial changes, you will have 20 years to achieve that. You are walking into that 2nd house placement. Because the 1st house evolved you, the 2nd house is now set to change. Because you have changed, it will change. Could you sell a house? Yes, you may. You may get to a point that you want to get rid of it, or you could change it, or you could add to it. Your 3rd house of communication. You could be signing a contract. You could be looking at details. You could be reading old letters. But the 3rd house, I actually feel, again, there is a dream that you, very psychic in nature, okay? The home doesn't matter where I am. Yeah. So now this could be looking at your contracts. Now, the 3rd house can be siblings as well. That could be a physical vehicle. But I think it is more to do with you could even, I don't know why I'm getting this right now, but I would not be surprised if you decide to write a book. So this could be a bit of journalism. You could get into really speaking about your personal experiences you've had, with your life. It could be actually writing a blog. It could be writing a book. It might be moving into spirituality and, doing Reiki or, but it's something, okay? It's something. Your routine, you may want to change your routine. You may be, and I'm hearing purpose, so spiritually, I feel it could also be you feeling the sense that you want to have purpose in your life. This could also be a conversation with a person of the past, and different steps that you want to take. But this also could be communication coming in, and it could be to do with your dreams. If you have a side hustle, it could be in any Neptunian field. It will do quite well. So what could that be? Herbalism, one example. Could be naturopathy, water, fishing, salmon farming, for instance. It could be you're doing that on land. It can do quite well moving forward over the next 2 years. So whatever it is, if it's something Neptunian, it could be a movie, it could be a painting. Expression for you is going to be key. Interesting. It's funny. I'm feeling that you are, I don't know why I'm going from that to that. I can feel as though you're wanting to change. It's funny because we already technically had transits happening in your first house, but I feel it's happening now. So if you could be changing your nutrition, your diet, what you're wanting to wear, I feel as though you're just wanting everything different. I do think this also could be like health kick energy, guru energy. I also feel there could be a change happening with a sibling. This could be a sort of like a change energy with a sibling. From a home point of view, if you have an extremely large home, for some random reason, I feel you could be going, you know what, I want something smaller. You also may decide, and I would say especially around the end of the year, travel's going to change. It's going to be different. I would be cautious because we do have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. And so that small portal there could probably bring aviation as a bit risky. Number one is when Mercury is retrograde, it is regardless. Missed flights, etc. But Jupiter is in Gemini and Mercury retrograding in such, that's a risky zone. I would probably steer clear or go early, expect delays, but, be cautious. For you, I feel you want something where the amenities, like you could actually be looking at your ideal life, your ideal conditions of your physical environment, what resources you would need. So this could be an area that you want to future tense live that has amenities. It could be having like doctors, shops, transport, like just everything you need. It also could be something a little bit more social. You could want to change elements inside your house that represent the new vibration of what functions for you now. And home-based businesses as well are a distinct possibility. Any questions for Capricorn? Is it hitting and landing? If you have a conflict with someone, there could be, I don't know why I'm saying this. This could have been, let me check for your 8th house. Read all your fine print. Okay, paperwork in order. There could be a new launch of something moving forward. If you're about to, it's like, I'm just hearing the term getting your ducks in a row. If there's some business venture you're wanting to launch, you could be looking outside the box. But I do feel for some way you may need to market this situation in a different way, especially because the South Node's going to be in Virgo. It could be something a bit more, I don't know why I'm seeing you physically on the commercial, for those of you who that relates. But again, I just see getting the paperwork done, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure everything is to code. Again, this is not legal advice. That's what I'm saying. If you are having like a case or a dispute with someone, make sure to cross the T's and dot the I's, okay? Be cautious going into disputes. In its retrograde, something can swing in your favour, especially around those areas. And you also could be very, very passionate and assertive inside of connections at the moment. This could be a little bit of protectiveness. This also could be that you are thinking about previous connections and moving forward. Aquarius, big changes for you. Yes, you, just like Capricorn, have had it on the opposite spectrum of things. You've had Pluto transiting your 12th house. I have seen ways in which this can play out. For some of you, it could be that you know somebody who is in jail. For others of you, you could spiritually feel you have been in a rat race, doing those Akashic records, looking over things, feeling that people don't understand you, dealing with habits, beliefs, what could I say? Very psychic in nature. Feeling stuck, wanting to be free. You could, wanting to wanting to fly before you walk. This is a lot of, it can be that you became very aware of what your fears are, what your beliefs are. You are chopping the shackles off. It's almost like the old, the monsters in your mind. You have become best friends with them. It's like they don't even scare you anymore because you know you've been there, you've seen it, you've dealt with it. Anything that has been preventing you from believing you can achieve everything, it's revisiting. And some of these things can be habits. Some of these things can be, okay, I feel I need to go back to a therapist, not medical advice. I feel I need, to really dig a little bit deeper. I've missed something. It also can be a dream that you had, or, I need to meditate. It could be, all of a sudden you're going to go, I need to get back into meditation. Why did I leave that behind? Pluto and Capricorn. It is going to land how it lands. You could be very connected and with spiritual individuals at this point in time. It could be something you're really leaning back into for that support, for that guidance, for that movement moving forward. What you're also going to find is your physical appearance is going to go through deep transformations. And, I was saying this inside of Capricorn's chart, and, sorry about the cussing, but you literally by the end of it will not give two shits what people think about you. You are going to be like, this is me. Take it or leave it. This is really the most authentic version of who you are. If you have felt suppressed or misunderstood, or, you could go from one spectrum to I need to be hot like a supermodel to I couldn't give two hoots. You are going to go through various kind of domains of that. You also might spiritually look at maybe the flaws inside your character. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to be right away. But you also could even look at, and this is one way it could play out, it's not the only, you may randomly all of a sudden want to have plastic surgery. It could be, I want to change my appearance. These clothing, the Empress new clothes, this clothing doesn't resonate with me anymore. This hairstyle doesn't resonate with me anymore. Even though it is the first house, you could go from single to couple to widowed. It's almost like the Wheel of Fortune. You are going to, and this could be something you've already kind of gone through, but now you're going to reflect upon, if that makes sense, in various intervals. So it doesn't have to be hate all of those things, but your identity, who you are. I also feel you will be quite connected to innovation. you could become quite famous. You may also find that you exude a mysterious demeanor, and people are very, people are thinking it's deeper than it actually is, and there could be a huge poker face that could go on with you guys over the next 20 years. But with this eclipse, let's take a look at it. I can say definitely look at your birth chart, right? Because it will link to something else. If you have wanted to create a secondary source of income, there is a distinct possibility at this time. You may be thinking about your wealth. Money for you guys, if you have been saving for a physical asset, land, an investment, or something that you've wanted, you're very close. You're closer than you think. Lady luck can be here, especially with speculation. And in the weeks coming, plus moving into 2025. So it's not going away. It is something of a nature of change. The one thing I will say, if you find that you are having difficulty with wealth management, it is common while Neptune is in that house, or if it is natally in your chart, that you have, you could be too giving with your money to others. How many of you just give your money away? It's like, oh, I need this, I need that, and you're like, it's like that love of marriage, and the guy's on the couch, and he's like, his daughter comes, and then it's his kids, and it's, it's like a spiritual transaction. It's like, well, I love you, so yeah, here you go. If you have felt that has been going on, it could be just completely being aware of that and saying to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna be aware of that, and I'm gonna give within means, and I'm gonna make other people responsible for their own shit. I am not a bank account, okay? Because it is a Venus sign. And what's the shadow sign? Virgo. And Virgo is the bank. And where is Virgo? Yeah, 8th house of other people's money. What goes around comes around, making it alone. There also can be some changes happening. For those of you in a partnership, you could start to earn more money than your partner. There could be changes with your partner's income. There could be changes within the partnership. If this is an employment situation, due to changes in that domain, you could be looking at various ways. For some of you, it could be that you hold 2 jobs or create sundries in a business. Money for you can actually also be giving you a legs up from the past. From this could be legacies, inheritances. It could be speculation on lotteries, other people's money, anything owed to you. You may be clearing debt. This could be a huge goal for you at the moment. It could be clearing a major debt. There could be a windfall that comes in, so you actually could pay that. Lady luck is here. Now, as to changes, Saturn has been putting pressure, but Saturn also has been showing you the limitations. What does Saturn do? Saturn's not there to sabotage you. Saturn's there to go, okay, we're going to give you the physical footing so your dream can actually occur and it can remain stable. So as much as we might feel he's being a bit of a jerk, he's retrograde at the moment, so a bit of that pressure's come off. Some of that kind of wealth flow, either from an income stream, or it could be from, because money comes from various areas. It could be that you're getting a government payment. It might be that you're getting it from a physical job. It could be it's joint resources or savings. Wherever it's coming from, it is going to go through a transformation. Now, you may find that if you're not working, you go back into work, and you are deeply, deeply focusing on bringing your professional resources. You may bump into the right people over the next 18 months. It's almost like being in the know crowd. So it could be that you attract these people in, and gift of the gab, they're like, oh, we have someone that, needs that, and they can give you a helping hand. So associates can be very beneficial in that domain as well. Your physical environment and your eating as well. There can be, with Capricorn transiting over your 12th house and your second house, be careful if you're going out. You want to make sure you're watching your drink. You're wanting to make sure that you're protecting it, especially be it feminine or masculine. Protect your drink, because we have that Neptunian energy there in the eating zone. Checking the use-by dates on your food at the moment. Although this is a more long-term thing, we are looking at possibilities during this transit. You will increase this domain. So it's going to be very center-focused. And, you know, again, any debt, tax, legacies, inheritance is going to quickly start getting wrapped up. A lot of that's going to be focused. You could be looking at, how can I get my savings up to par? How can I get my debt under wrap? How can I, and a lot of it, you're going to be going, that's impossible. You could be looking at a dream versus a physical reality, and everything could look like the doors closed. I feel we're going to get more of a signature of where those openings are after the eclipse. So if you're like, yeah, that's relevant, but hey, what can I do? Wait, there's more energy coming, and we will understand it as we proceed forward. But there can be an increase in your income. There can be a deep desire. I would say still be cautious for the next couple of weeks. I wouldn't say, hey, go out and splurge. I'd say be cautious, slight speculation energy, scratchy, etc. But I also would say there is a potential that a big change is going to be happening in that area. What else do I need to warn you about? If you're a feminine, be careful, obviously, because Mars is transiting both Cancer and Leo. It will retrograde later for you. It's in your 6th and your 7th house. So, you can burn yourself out. You also could feel frustrated at your physical routine. If you're parenting, there could be some frustrations, and you also could have frustrations happening around either your physical environment or and security. So, you know, really paying very close attention and being careful about who you trust, who you let in your home. You know, a lot of times some perpetrators in life are the ones that are closest to us. So using your intuition with this, making sure that you know who these individuals are. You may want to make some changes, and I can just give you a myriad of examples. It could be Botox, it might be plastic surgery. I can say as Chiron is retrograde, inflammation is more possible. So it's not saying don't, it's not saying do, it's saying that's a potential, right? As to love is going to ease up. It's going to be super passionate. Super passionate. Oh, let me look at the 4th. Okay. To do with family, home, your physical environment. If you're waiting on money for some reason, I do feel it's coming in. If you've had fluctuation, maybe to do with home-based businesses and things to that degree, you could have been on the fence about it. Or do I have one? Do I not? A lot of money going into the house, a lot of money going out, a lot of transitions in homes and moves. It is going to settle down. It is transiting out of that area. It has created a lot of instability. And I feel for a lot of you, what you're really wanting is more grounded, conducive energy within your home environment. So any dreams relating to owning a physical asset, living somewhere, is an extreme distinct possibility, and you definitely could get some major changes happening in that area, Aquarius. If you do need a booking and you do want me to look at your chart, you can come through and have a casual chat in the members, or we could go deep into your chart within my website. Pisces, last but not least, have you felt the pressure, my loves? How many Pisces do we have in the house? And I wouldn't be surprised if all of us over the last few weeks have been like turning into neat freaks or obsessive compulsive energies coming through. Critical energy could be gossip, frustration. No, Pisces. You know what? They're all hiding. They're like, you know what? Sod this eclipse. I'm bailing later. Okay, Pisces. Pisces, I feel sorry for you guys. I'm just going to be real. Neptune can affect your vibration, okay? You could feel like Virgo, so disillusioned at this point, under pressure, Saturn's there. Now, I'm just going to be level with you. Saturn is retrograde. If something stinks, it's going to stink more when it goes direct. Listen to the call. Take time to meditate. Take time, and I don't mean during the eclipse. I'd just be present. Wait till after, then into that. Meditation also in a context of take 5. Take a breath. We're going to be in this moment. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. Why is that? You've had a lot of crap and pressure on you. Okay? You may have had to have been everything to everyone, and you have not had time to check in with yourself. And at times, maybe that can come out in an expression of absolute sheer frustration, and it could come out in the form of what my ex used to say, potty mouth. So it may be that you just lose your shit. Self-awareness is going to be key. Pisces placements more so when we had it in Chiron. Neptune can cause that. It can be depression. It could be that you feel like you're having an existential crisis. This doesn't relate to me. I'd rather be doing anything else but what I'm doing right now. Why is everything going wrong? We had Mercury retrograde. Okay, that was really hitting your 7th house, both relating to marriages, contracts, and partnerships. So if that was driving you batshit crazy up the wall, I wouldn't be surprised. Subjects to do with the past, irritations and frustrations may have reared their ugly head. And as you are proceeding forward, you could be like that pendulum swinging back and forward. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I do this? Do I do that? What do I have to do next? You can feel like you're losing your head. I'll just say you could. This also can be extremely positive. It could be a brand new beginning. It could be you meet somebody and you move in together. You meet somebody and you get engaged, or you're getting married. You're taking connection to the next level. But something for you at a very personal level relating to your status can be changing. Now, it can be for better or worse. Because although I do feel for all of us, we will see something to do with this eclipse November and December. The rest of it hasn't been revealed. Why? It's because Saturn and Neptune go direct them. So I kind of feel we're going to get more of this PDF than. It's almost like a lottery, right? And you're picking it and you're going, but we don't know what the restriction and the dream is going to be. It's like a 50-50. But we're having to make these decisions now. Yeah, it's like you'll be going, oh my God, why is this going on? Every Pisces I've talked to lately has been under the pump, under the pressure, stressed. Self-awareness is great. For those of us that have the resources and understand how transits can impact us, it's not that is what the zodiac sign is. That is what the zodiac sign is experiencing astrologically at this point in time. No judgment on any zodiac sign on this channel. More how it can play out. This could be a very positive time for you. This could be where you are feeling very Venusian level, very realistic. The other thing is the reason why some of you can feel disillusioned is because when Neptune is retrograde, it's realistic. It's like, we gave you the PDF. It could be that you're looking at a situation going, this sucks. This friggin' sucks. In Neptune direct, you're kind of like, I see the dream. No, it's me. It's not them. Or it's them, not me. It's one way or another. There's two sides to that coin, and it takes two to tango. There's something in it. Look deeper. But I would say journal. I would say sit there, journal. You know, sometimes we want somebody to hear us, but we're not listening to ourselves. And that was really something that I was very flawed at. A lot of times I would seek outside myself. I'd be like, but they don't understand. And I was like, but how about you start understanding yourself? When we start listening to ourselves, we actually make the decision without asking other people, because we're kind of like, well, this is what's going to be best for me. So I think this moment is about sitting and saying, Pisces, what is best for me right now? What is going to work for me? What is the most authentic for me? What is happening to me right now? That could be coaching, counseling, journaling, getting excited, making choices, being open to the experience. I would be careful with pacifiers at this point. Your sign is going to be more susceptible. Shadow work is very possible. Dreams, you know, it's speculation. Image is going to be changing also. It is your first house placement. You could decide that you want to change it up. You could have some funky style coming through, and you don't care if anybody doesn't understand it. You are going to come through. This also could be people coming out. People saying, you know what, this isn't who I am. And nobody knew. It was Neptune. Or you didn't know. It is one possibility. Hi, Sweet. How are you? So, a lot of changes for you in that area. Looking after your wellness as well, okay? Because, you know, the Venus attributed things, you know, you could be impacted through your marriages, contracts, partnerships. So it could be that you're feeling, wow, I'm feeling really run down, and is this working for me anymore? Or do I need to go and look after myself and get that Virgo balance going so that I'm more productive? Have you ever noticed when you're tired, you know, your mum would scream at you when you're a kid, and they're like, I'm tired, I can't do this right now. It's like, yeah, the next day, it's almost like, oh, she's okay now, what's going on? When you rest, you can deal with crap better. So taking rest, getting grounded, having that moment. You have been very focused on, this could be home wealth, you know, and universe has been still going to bring some of those blessings to you, but, you know, it could have felt as though, and I'll be very careful about extending yourself, because next year we're having Saturn move into your second house, and that can really restrict, so don't overextend. It's going to require you to be quite strict in that domain, and that could be because you're getting a big purchase or because you're investing in something. But again, I would not overextend, or be cautious, and that is definitely not financial advice. What else am I saying? Huh? I swear I heard something. You could be having issues with your children. You may want to socialize. There could be a lot on your plate. You may be finding that you're wanting to change things in your house. You could find that you want a larger house. Home-based businesses are a potential. Big conversations about the future. You also need to be very careful with overextending yourself. I would say be careful during Mars retrograde. You could be a little bit more accident prone with sprains and strains. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and I would say something to do with your marriage, contract, partnership is definitely going to go through a change. And I also see a change for those of you either in a physical environment working. There could be a change happening in that wealth zone. That also can be for those of you with a physical partner. I hope this has helped. I'm going to love you and leave you because it's almost 11 o'clock and I have to wake up at 3:30. Any last questions before I love you and leave you? Private bookings online. Q&As, if I do end up logging off, I want you to know we do have the YouTube membership, and we also have bookings directly online. You can comment in the comment box, and I always can come back to it and read it after and answer any stock standard questions. I hope you enjoyed this update. Take care and good luck. Avoid pacifiers. Keep the meditation to about a day or so after. Good time to smudge your house, to drink fluid, relax, and definitely journal. See what comes through for you. Some of these signatures are going to set us up for a little bit of a PDF of what's coming in 2025 and beyond. I'll see you on the other side.